I do, obviously working on the technology side, specifically around services procurement, I would put forward the argument that kind of legacy or traditional procurement technology has been much more focused around goods and materials.
Yep.
But I feel that that's come from the evolution of the ERP into kind of procure to pay and source to pay systems, where it was really all about the manufacturing supply chain at that point. And when you try and bend technology that's designed for the way that goods and materials slot in as quite a kind of, like you said, very structured, almost binary things, versus complex supply chain, services procurement is almost the flip side of that, in the sense that it's generally a simpler supply chain setup, but it's a very complicated thing that you're actually buying. What's been your experience from a technology point of view, as like going through the different roles and looking at different organizations, as to how much the technology is being geared towards that kind of goods and materials setup versus the more nuanced kind of services side?
So completely agree. I think ERP systems are more focused around the traditional purchases that a company would make, that being obviously products and goods. And so just to kind of give it an example, when we were managing our services via a statement of works that was on a Microsoft Word piece of paper, you then have to pass that into the into our system that raises the purchase order and obviously records the spend. But it's very one-dimensional. It's on the 1st of December, a purchase order was raised for £20,000 to this supplier to do this description. It doesn't consider everything that goes into a successful project delivery and an unsuccessful project delivery. So things like the changes, the variations, the accelerations of work, everything that goes into what is required to deliver that piece of work. So you've then got gaps in the process where if you're not on the ball, it gets lost. So that purchase order for £20,000 as an example, in reality now might be worth about £30,000, because those negotiations have gone on, at a face-to-face level. We need to do more. We need to do this. We need more of this, and you agree those costs and commercials, but it's not recorded. And then it comes to, let's say, 6 months' time, and supplier submits invoice, and it doesn't match up with the purchase order that was raised on the 1st of December. Well, what happens next? So that's because the ERP systems are one-dimensional, one price, one invoice, end of. Whereas systems that are being developed now, such as yours, they support the stakeholders from start to finish, and they consider everything that could go on in that time, like the variations and the changes and the de-scopes and the scope changes. So it's difficult to try and manage a service based on traditional systems.